Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Beyond Small Talk. I'm your host, Sadia Abdulaziz Mohammed, and today I have with me Mrs Maryam Hassan Baba. She's a professional guidance counselor who specialized in strengthening marital relationships, a motivational speaker, and also the founder of The Northern Therapist, which is an organization that provides counseling and therapy for couples and individuals. She hosts an annual marriage conference every November here in Kano, and she invites experts, thought leaders, and scholars to discuss how we can build and maintain healthy marital lives. Mrs. Maryam, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. Mrs. Maryam, so November is around the corner. When should we start expecting to hear about your 5th conference?
I think anytime soon. Usually we start preparing for the conference immediately after the one we completed.
The last one.
Yes.
Oh,
so immediately after it, we start preparing for the next one.
Start preparing for the next one. Yes. It's a very beneficial conference. I highly recommend if you've never been. I have a long list of questions here for you, but before we start, I'd like to know a bit about your background and how you started this work.
Okay, so for me, Gaskia, I would say even growing up, it wasn't like I already have an idea of what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted something easy, something at that time I felt like there were so much professions that were saturated, and I was just looking at something that I wouldn't waste time getting admission into university. And I just thought about it, and I spoke with my parents, and they're like, why not? So we just started. I did not actually know that it was going to be the Northern Therapist and all of that. I think what informed the Northern Therapist was after my studies, when I got married, I just realized, I think I should start something with what I have studied.
Mashallah, that's nice. Well, our topic for today is on self-awareness and compatibility. Usually when people are talking about marriages and relationships, there's always a focus on the right partner, finding the right person. And sometimes we neglect that we also have to be that right person ourselves. And before you can do that, self-awareness is a big part of it. You have to know your own strengths, your weaknesses, your triggers. So my first question is, how can individuals develop self-awareness before entering a relationship?
So, Alhamdulillah, I think we're in an era where there's a lot of conversation about self-awareness. And Yanzu, you just mentioned it. Like, we always want to look out for somebody that is, good, somebody that is kind, somebody that is marriage worthy. But most times we don't reflect on ourselves. And that's where self-awareness comes in. Every individual should attain self-awareness before they get into the marriage institution, before they even get a partner. Because the more self-aware you are, the more you understand who is the right person for you. The more you understand who is going to be compatible with you. So it's very important that people get to know themselves first. And even though self-awareness is like an ongoing journey, like you never finish learning about yourself, because every day you get to experience new things, you get to meet new people, you get to interact with, other side of your environment. And each interaction, either, outwardly or as you evolve, unveils another part of you. Like there are layers. We have different layers to who we are. So you need to be in tune with who you are every day, so that, that helps you to identify who is the right person for you. And in that way, compatibility is higher. But if you have no idea who you are, you just, see somebody and you just fancy them, you're not necessarily certain that these people are for you.
So that question of who am I, how do I start figuring out who am I?
I think, in order for you to start a self-awareness journey, you have to be curious. You have to be interested in who you are as an individual. You want to see how you want to understand how you respond to certain situations around you, how you feel about certain things. You want to pay attention to all of those details, and you want to learn more. Most times when it comes to dealing with ourselves, we kind of just, we don't pay attention to us as individuals. Rather, we pay attention to how other people treat us, how other people make us feel. So if you want to embark on your self-awareness, you want to start with, assessing how you feel about certain things, how certain situations make you feel, what kind of thoughts go through your mind, and just parsing with your thoughts and your feelings. That is the beginning of self-awareness, because if we are just like in a fast track world where if you don't pause and listen to yourself, you might not even be in tune with your inner thoughts and your inner feelings. So you just have to pause and just understand like what's going on between us. That will birth our journey to self-awareness.
Self-awareness. All right. Thank you. When you're having a conversation with your potential spouse, what do you think are those crucial conversations that you need to have? If you don't ask anything else, what are these questions that you need to ask before you move forward?
Okay. So I believe if you have a potential spouse, there's definitely something that attracted you to them.
Yeah.
Maybe you like their dean, you like how they appear, you like how smart they are, and all of that. Mm-hmm. Once you identify that there was an attraction that led you, then you need to start having conversations that are beyond the first thing that attracted you to them. Because when we meet people, let's say for instance, when you meet somebody for the first time, there's something that drew you to them. But that thing, whatever it is not enough to make you build a lifelong relationship. Especially a spousal relationship, right? So you want to have conversations that would make you know other things about them aside from that thing that attracted you to them. Yeah. For instance, if maybe what attracted you to them was their wealth, let's say for women, we like to look at men that are, financially stable, because that it's a marriage and you need someone to take care of you. So if it's that financial stability, you want to explore what kind of mindset do they have, what's their relationship with their, with Allah, what's their relationship with others, how kind are they? Do you speak Hausa?
Yeah, for sure. It's Angausa.
All right. So like you need to understand them. Mm-hmm. And I always tell people, before you can have compatibility, you need to equip yourself with the knowledge to ask the right questions. Right? So if you're asking the right question, you get to know people better. But if you're not asking the right question, you can stay a long time with somebody, but you don't get to know them. Do we understand? Yeah. And even when it comes to questions, there are ways that you ask questions that make you curious as opposed to just questioning. Because when you're questioning somebody, especially somebody that you want to live the rest of your life with, if you're doing it in a question way,
like an interrogation.
Yeah. So it's very important that one equips themselves with understanding how to ask questions, because knowing how to ask questions would make you get to know somebody better.
All right, thank you. Usually they say when you're going into a relationship, you should have your non-negotiables and your deal breakers. Yeah. So how can one start the process of knowing, okay, these are my non-negotiables and maybe these are some things I can compromise on?
Yeah. So, you asked, about self-awareness earlier, and I think all this conversation is even around self-awareness. Yeah. So by having self-awareness, you know what your strengths are and you know what your weaknesses are, right? By having self-awareness as well, you know how human you are, right? So that gives you, and that makes you have more compassion. That makes you have more grace for others. If I'm self-aware, I understand that there's a certain character that I want to adopt, but it's been very difficult for me to adopt that. I give myself grace, and it makes me give grace to another person. So when I'm weighing what my deal breakers are, what my non-negotiables are, my self-awareness would make me understand what is that thing that I can live with, what is that thing that I cannot live without. So a deal breaker is necessarily what I feel like I cannot, is a non-negotiable. They're almost the same thing.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah. So it's something that I know that even with grace, even with passion, even with compassion, even with empathy, I know that I cannot survive with that. Maybe it's a threat to my deen, is a threat to my health, is a threat to the feelings that I would keep having for this person. But if they don't check these three things.
Okay, so a threat to a person's deen, mental health, and
yeah. So your deen, your health, and then the marital relationship between the two of you. So if it's not going to affect those three, then it's something that you might want to see. Again, we have to understand that once you're trying to get married to somebody, you are not perfect and you can never be, right? There are certain traits that you have, or certain attitudes that you have, or certain characters that you have that this is just who you are. And you expect whoever is coming into your life to honor those and appreciate your humanness, right? So it's the same for the person that you want to get married to. You cannot expect perfection
from an individual.
You can't expect perfection. So when you're looking at deal breakers, when you're looking at non-negotiables, you have to give that you have to honor the humanness of an individual, right? So if it's something that somebody can learn,
okay,
that should be like something you should be flexible about. But if it's something that is like a personal trait, maybe like it's something that cannot change about somebody, like maybe hereditary or something like that, then that's something that you can actually walk away from.
I understand. There are some conversations that are uncomfortable to have. Like, for example, finances. Maybe it's too direct to come and ask someone how much does he earn or something like that. So how should couples navigate those conversations?
So I personally feel like if you have somebody that you feel like you want to get married to, you should understand that you have to have difficult conversations. Because you're getting married. Marriage is what? A lifetime
commitment.
It's a lifetime commitment. And you're getting married to serve Allah. You're not getting married for vibes. Right? Your Jannah is at stake. Your health, your well-being generally is at stake. Everything about you is at stake. So you cannot just because, I don't want to have a difficult conversation, avoid all of that. Because if you don't have the conversation at the entry level, is it after the wedding party that you start having the conversation? So you need to brace yourself and handle that premarital period as what it is. A negotiation phase, an education phase, and just like a hard conversation phase. So you need to have that conversation with your partner to know that, okay, this phase is where we're going to be having very difficult conversations, where I'm going to be asking so many questions. Is this okay by you? In fact, their response would give you an idea of how much in this situation they are in or not. Because if even at premarital level, you're avoiding difficult conversation, it means you're not really ready to step out of your comfort, you know? So everybody should make it something like a deal breaker as well. If you're not ready to have those difficult conversations, then maybe you're not even ready to get married. I am an advocate of have all the difficult conversations before you get married. Anything you can think of. And that is why there's premarital counselling. You know, contrary to popular opinion, premarital counselling should not even be done when your wedding date is fixed.
It should be way before.
Way before you settle and say, okay, yes.
This is the person.
Because the premarital counselling should inform that, yes, this is the person that I want to get married to. Yes, you do your istihara and all of that. But when you do your istihara, there are signs. Don't you think during those conversations, those signs will be revealed to you?
Yes, true.
So I personally feel like couples, once you get to know each other and you know that, okay, this is the person that I want to settle down with, go ahead with your premaritals. And then after the premaritals, you can now decide, okay, aji asakarana, pukar asakarana.
That's a valid point. Thank you. We hear about red flags in partners all the time. What are the common red flags that people should look out for? Because I feel like the definition, everybody is a red flag now.
Yes. So I think when it comes to red flag, we have to understand that what you said, a red flag for this person might not be a red flag for me. Farko, we are Muslims, so we have to understand that somebody has to be a Muslim.
First and foremost.
And there has to be somebody that is spiritual, not just like a Muslim by title. If none of that is happening, then that's a red flag anywhere, right? Then also your genotype, obviously, is something that is very, very important as well. If that is not a match, that's a red flag as well. Other attitudes and characters and all of that, you have to understand yourself, like I said earlier, and understand what is a priority for you. If you're an honest person, obviously you would want a very honest person. Sometimes we have the red flags, we carry the red flags, and we are ignoring our own red flags and then looking at these people that we are meeting and trying to see their own red flags. So we have to understand that we also have to check in with ourselves to see what are our own green flags, right? Once we understand what our green flags are, then we look at what our values are. We understand what our values are. Then the opposite of our values can now be termed as our red flags. But you can't go about looking for red flags in people when you don't even identify what your own red flags are, what your green flags are. That's how it works.
Okay, I understand. Yeah. When it comes to compatibility now, what are the key areas that you have to be compatible with your partner on?
Yeah.
You mentioned genotype earlier, which is very, very important. What other things do you have to be compatible?
Yeah. So, generally, I would say your spirituality, how much, spiritual are you both? Are you on the same, you don't have to be on the same standard, but at least you get yourself. Because it's very difficult to navigate a life with somebody that you're not on the same spiritual level or almost
around
at the
same area.
Spiritual level. Then also when it comes to how you value family, that's also something you need to explore. Because when you have differences in what's the meaning of family for you with the other person, it's something that is going to be causing a lot of friction. Also, what it feels like for maybe work, hard work, like what's the definition of hard work for you both? Because in marriage, finances are very, very important. And we know we're living in weird times now, like, the economy is not really favoring a lot of people. So you both have to be on the same page when it comes to the definition of what is hard work. You can have somebody that is very, very ambitious, getting married to somebody that, they just have like a lot of contentment. I wouldn't even say the word contentment, but they're just
very chill, maybe relaxed.
Chill, like relaxed, And once you get married, there's going to be a lot of friction because they are doing their best in their own capacity where they feel like this is it for me. I'm contented with the barest minimum. Yeah. And you're this very ambitious person. You would always want more. And in this case, it kind of makes them feel like little and it might make them feel inferior and you have to shrink yourself, all of those things. So, it's also very important that you explore what your outlook is about life generally. You explore. Do you have like more aligned, values as opposed to, you cannot, even if you're a twin with somebody, you cannot be like identical with them when it comes to like thought and feelings and all of that. But you want to explore to see, is it more, do you have more values aligned as opposed to everywhere you guys differ? And why I'm saying this is there are so many instances where because you want to get married, especially for ladies, because you want to get married, when you meet a potential spouse, you tend to act in a way that would just make them accept you, right? You don't want to show your true self because you feel like maybe it might be too much for them or it might be too little for them. You put up a character. And at the end of the day, like when you get married, it happens to men as well. But I think because the society places more pressure on ladies, so we get to see ladies doing more of that. And at the end of the day, you get married, you want to be yourself, and you find out that yourself is not compatible with this person.
you're married.
So I'll say just try as much as possible to be yourself. Have all the conversations that you need to have. Know that at least you're going same direction.
All right, thank you. I hope your learning will be back after a short break, inshallah.
Join us as we go beyond the surface to the deeper truths.
All right, welcome back. Mrs. Maryam, as a marital therapist, I'm sure you would have noticed from your clients, there's a particular pattern that maybe this couple will come to you before they get married, and you can see that they're more maybe compatible, they're more in line with each other. And then another one will come and maybe there's more work to be done for them.
Yeah.
So what are these patterns that you've recognized and the ones that are more compatible?
Yes, so I would say more compatible spouses have like very good communication. They are not afraid to have the difficult conversations, and they are both curious when it comes to communication, because curiosity is more important in communication.
Okay.
Whatever you're saying, the other person has to be interested to know where you're coming from, and to also understand your own point of view, right? So I would say for couples to work, that curiosity and communication, also the intention of the marriage, it's also very important. I think most couples that would do well are people that know that marriage is an act of ibadah, and they are there to serve Allah through their spouse. You know, they know that, yes, it's an act of ibadah, but I have to serve my spouse through Allah. I have to serve Allah through my spouse, right?
Yeah.
So those kind of couples, you know, they go a long way. But I think couples that usually maybe they just tell each other the right things. They listen more than they speak more than they listen. They answer rightfully. You know, when they are talking to themselves, they just want to answer like the right questions. They don't dig deep. And couples that just want to get married because, you know, it's time to get married. Like, I just need to settle down. You know, those kind of couples eventually would have problems in their marriage because they themselves they're not yet mentally ready for the tasks ahead. They just want to settle that. It's just like a new chapter in their life that they need to go about. So what I would say is, if you want to get married, you have to forget about the wedding.
There's
Just
more to marriage than the wedding.
Pay attention to the marriage. Forget about the wedding. Wedding, you can just get like a wedding planner to do all of that. But focus on the marriage, because that is the work, not the wedding. The wedding is just like 3 days or 4 days, max a week, you're done. So focus on that. Once you see somebody another thing that you should focus on is, once you see somebody that they just care about the wedding, they just want to move to this next chapter of their life. You know, when you guys are having conversations, they are always diverting that conversation with, like, let's just get married and let's bring kids to the world. There's nothing deep about how are we going to be having communication when there's conflict. How do we settle ourselves? There's no nitty gritty of what goes around in the everyday life of the marriage. You're just looking at result. Okay, let's get married. Let's have our kids. So that should be concerning for anyone that wants to get married.
Okay. How should couples manage expectations? You know, there's this rising trend of don't settle for less, get the best. But then at the same time, what is unrealistic and what is just you compromising instead of settling?
Yeah. So that's a very important question, because expectations, unmet expectation is like number one when it comes to rank of marital dissatisfaction. The cause is unmet expectations, because so many people have so much expectations from their partners and even from the marriage institution. How do you manage your expectation? Self-awareness, understanding yourself, understanding your weaknesses, understanding your strengths. that is a kind of, an awakening for you as an individual. If I have this kind of weakness and if I have this kind of strength, then it means that the other person also, it's okay for them to also have weaknesses. It's also okay for them to have strength. It's okay for them to do good in this area and not do good in this area. And we also have to recognize that for everyone, life is in phases. You know, if I meet you right now, we're both in different phases, in different aspects of our life.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is that commitment to growth, right? So you might meet me today, and maybe when it comes to my health, like I'm in a better phase now, I'm eating well, I'm going to the gym, I'm doing all of those things. In the areas of the day, maybe I'm making my prayers on time and all of that. But maybe in areas of finances, like I'm careless when it comes to that. My commitment in all of those other areas would make you give me grace that if I'm committed in this area, it means that it can also come back to these areas of my life, right? But when I see that, like, in every area of your life, like in every phase of your life, there's no commitment to growth, you know, then that is something that I will not even have any expectations. And another thing that people need to check out when it comes to unmet expectation is don't project your want or your need onto someone and just hope that they can grow into it. Like sometimes we like to settle for potential in someone, right?
Okay.
And when you see potential in someone, it's a reflection of your need. Yeah. Is a reflection of your need. So one thing you need to be honest with is, like I said, people are in phases in their lives, and there are certain things about people when you're curious, you will see that, okay, this area of this person, I do not think they really want to do anything about it. This is what it looks like. So marriage is not going to change them automatically. So once you get to understand that, and it's self-awareness that would make you understand that, and it's also relationship education. Getting married is a big deal. Aside from your premaritals, you yourself, you have to learn skills that will make you ready to have courtship, ready to understand who you want to get married to. If you want to go into the university, I think you have to go to maybe take examination that would prepare you to even do an examination of the A-level, right? So likewise in marriage, like this is a lifetime that you want to achieve. You have to educate yourself on how to identify red flag, how to have difficult conversations, how to do all of those things. And the good thing is that resources are available for us to utilize, but it's just that we don't like to utilize. When it comes to marriage, we always have that chill. Don't worry, I can
Figure it out,
I
yeah.
can figure it, I can wing it. I've learned some from my parents, I've learned some from my community, but it doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Whatever you're serious about, you're very intentional about it. You go around looking for things, resources that would help you to go about it. So you have to also learn skills that would help you to figure out what is an unrealistic expectation for you practically. Because some things are easier, said in words, like, okay, this is an unrealistic expectation for me, or this is something that is realistic. But what is the measuring, what are you using to measure, right? So all of these things that I said can help you to figure out, just knowing that you're a human will help you to figure out that this person is also human, and also assessing from your own space of need, like, what is that need that is making me to see a potential in somebody? Let me sit down with that and let me be practical about it and know that marriage is not just automatically going to change someone. And as a Northern therapist, we have a course which is like Ready for Forever.
Okay.
That course is a very rich course. It's for people that are single, not necessarily people that are married, people that are single, people that are engaged, but they're not comfortable with the engagements. They're second guessing themselves.
They have questions, yeah.
So the Ready for Forever would help you to, understand what red flags are, understand what are practical expectations, understand how to cut the right way so that you can even get to understand yourself better and get to understand how you can relate with somebody better to know if you can be a right fit for you.
Thank you so much for that response. There's a lot to learn, and like you said, it all goes back to self-awareness and taking advantage of the resources we have. All right, now I want us to go back to societal pressure. You've been mentioning how ladies are usually pressured, and even the men sometimes. So how do you advise your clients or the general public to deal with this pressure to get married, to settle down?
Yeah, this is a very important question as well, because no matter how self-aware you are, like, pressure can get to you, you know. So one thing I always tell people is surround yourself with people that are supportive, you know. Make sure you're having honest conversations with your primary support givers, your parents, your siblings, your very good friends. Have like an honest conversation and establish certain boundaries. No conversations you want to keep having, and conversations that you don't want to engage with, respectfully. And then for outsiders, people that don't really have any influence, you remind yourself that their opinions, their values, their sentiments, they are not applicable to you. And it's also very important that in order for us to handle that pressure, we understand what's the essence of getting married. What's the essence of getting married? What's the ruling on getting married? You know, as a woman, no matter how much you want to get married, you cannot marry yourself. So I think that in itself, just understanding that Allah has commanded a man to marry a woman and not the other way, like that in itself should give you peace to go about doing your whatever it is that you have to do, because you don't have that capacity to marry yourself. And why should you be hard on yourself?
For something you can't control.
For something you cannot actually control. And what makes you think that it is only in the aspect of life that your life can get barakah, that you can impact people, that you can be happy? There are different aspects of life that one can get satisfaction from, one can have like impact on. You're living with your parents. As you're living with your parents, you're getting insight for all the things that you're doing for them. And like somebody mentioned in one of the seminar that I attended, she mentioned that when you look at it, like, as adults, every day, like, we have lesser time to spend with our parents. Right?
True.
I personally, I don't live in the same city with my parents. So I see my parents, like, quality time, I see them like once a year. So if I had gotten married later, I think I would have gotten like more quality time with them. So everything that Allah does for you, like, there's a blessing in it. There's a wisdom in it. There's a gift in it. Cherish it. Life is in moments, it's in phases. If this phase goes away, you're going to crave for that moment where you could actually be in your parents' home and just be like dependent on them and all of that. So don't always think, oh, just because I did not get married. Yes, marriage is important and everybody wants to have their own person. But before that time comes, eventually it will come, inshallah. But before that time comes, do you want to waste it wallowing in self-pity? Like, is that a good attribute for a Muslim?
No.
When Allah gives you something, then you don't appreciate it. You know what's best for you better than what Allah wants for you. So you don't do that. You have to appreciate each phase. Because each phase that goes, you don't get it more. As a marriage therapist, I've spoken to a lot of people that would say, I wish I didn't get married at the time that I did. I wish I'd spent more time with my parents. I wish I'd explored a career. I wish I'd learned business. I wish there are so many things. So take it as a gift. Like, this is your period to live on your terms.
Very true.
When you get married, you can't live on your terms. You can't live on your terms. Like, you cannot get up and just say, I want to be this, I want to be that. Your life is intertwined with
someone else's.
And everything that you do has to be in consideration with whether they want to. You want to be a medical doctor. As a single person, you want to be a medical doctor. You just check in with your parents. But as a married person, you have to check in with your spouse. Right? Because you're in this life together. Like, does he want a wife that, turn a call, tomorrow turn a call? Is this what he wants? If you were already a medical doctor and they approach him as a medical doctor, then it's okay. He has to live with it because he chose it. But he didn't marry a medical doctor. He married a woman that was always at home. And I'm saying this because as a married woman, I've been married for 10 years now. When I got married to my husband, I didn't have a career. I was at home with him. Anytime he comes back home, I'm home. But after I got married, I started a career, which makes me leave my house sometimes. And we had to walk through that. We had to navigate that as a couple. It wasn't comfortable. It wasn't what he asked for. It wasn't what I asked for. So we had to navigate all of that. So I would say, don't allow anybody to pressure you. Everybody you see is battling with one thing or the other. Do you understand? If somebody is shaming you, oh, you've not gotten married, as they are shaming you, there's something they are battling with.
Honestly.
And maybe it makes them feel better to shame you. So instead of even feeling defensive, like, pity them. They are just projecting their own insecurities and doing all of that, can make them feel better about themselves. Don't allow anybody to shame you. Take it as a gift. I would emphasize that. Like, that waiting period just is a gift, to be honest. Run that already. Like, you're not going to get all that freedom,
Things
all that
change.
liberty, all that. Like, do you know how isolating it is to get married? Once you get married, all that influence that you're enjoying as a young girl now at home, even as a young guy at home, idan kai ba daidai ba, your parents will call you, your uncle will call you. Ranar da aka ɗaura maka aure, like, you've attained one kind of adulthood, like, you've entered one
another level
of adulthood, and people are going to step back, honestly. Like, as a married person, there are certain things that nobody would give you any advice because they feel like, you're married, you
can handle it.
You can handle it. So it's kind of isolating. People just see now you have your home, you have a wife to cook. But even leadership, like in your home, there's somebody's rights on your shoulders. Do you understand? Like Ali Hamuda would say, marriage can take you to Jannah, but it can take you to Jahannam as well. Because now there's somebody's rights on you that if you don't fulfill, you get a lot of by doing that. Now you are a husband, you have a wife, you're conflicted as to how do I lead her rights in such a way that I am not trampling on her rights and I'm also guiding her rights within my own capacity. That's such a heavy thing to do. So if you're not yet married, go and learn all of those skills. Go and experiment. Go and do a lot of things and don't, make yourself feel bad that I'm not yet married. You're going to get married eventually. If it's your early, you will eventually. So enjoy the time that you have now.
Everything in good time, as they say. All right. So my next question is, if you were to give it in steps, how can people prepare themselves for a healthy marriage?
Yeah. So I would say before a healthy marriage is something that it takes a lot of work to achieve. It takes a lot of work. First, you even have to understand who you are, like self-awareness, everything.
Yeah.
Understand the other person, the person that you're getting married to, and accept them. I think even for me, my marital relationship changed drastically when I accepted my husband for who he was and not the picture that I had of who he wanted to be. And for him as well, vice versa. We had to go through that period of acceptance. And acceptance is very, very difficult. You have to grieve that version of, and even self-acceptance is even for yourself as well. Because before you got married, you had a picture of who you thought you were. And then once you get married, reality kicks in. Now you know that you have to be this person. I know before I got married, like, I don't drive myself. Like, anyway, I'll just sit at the back of
passenger,
the car and take me where I want to go to. Like, I don't find myself in this leadership roles where I have to take charge and all of that. I'm just like laid back. All of those things. But, getting married, and I had to step into this position where I need to take charge, like, you have to take responsibility. There are certain, like, in fact, 6 months into our marriage, like, we had armed robbers in our home. Like, 6 armed robbers, in our home. Like, so, just, that
experience.
knowing you are, like, this is a new chapter. And when they came to the home, that they were not looking for mommy and daddy, they were looking for me and my husband. Like, we are the
You are the
mommy and
people,
daddy.
yeah.
Like, it was a serious issue. But just accepting that this is a new chapter for you. You have to give grace to your spouse, and also having empathy. I think empathy is very important. As Muslims, I think everybody should have that empathy. Always put yourself in the shoes of the other person.
Yeah.
Yes, you want this kind of life. This is the kind of life that you grew up with. People are not allowed to make mistakes around you and all of that. But now you're married to somebody that is quite different. Maybe the kind of background that you had is not the kind of background that they had, right? Maybe they have more privileges over you, and so some things they understand it better than you. Whatever it is, when you have empathy, you're creating room to put yourself in the shoes of the other person. It makes it easier. So you accept them, you have empathy, and you have empathy for yourself as well. Don't be too hard on yourself. It's okay to learn and grow. We are all learning. We are all growing to be better people. Don't box yourself and say, ga yadda ya kamata a ce, mai gida, this is how a mai gida should be. Don't box yourself and say, this is how matar gida should be. Like, akwai abinda ba zan iya yi ba as mata. Like, maybe I cannot support my husband in this kind of way. Kai ya zo ya saka min abubuwa, ko kuma as a husband, like, ba zan yi mu'amala da matana ba, kar ta zo ta rena ni. All of that. Forget about all of this. If you want to have a healthy relationship, because look, you're not in a marriage with a statue.
Yeah.
You're not in a marriage with somebody that the society defines. You're in marriage with your own person. And the only way you can unlock one healthy relationship is by treating them as this person. Like, yes, mazaje a waje ga yadda suke yi, but you are my own husband. So, like, as your own person, this is your capacity, this is your skill. You get to understand people for who they are. It unlocks that connection, that intimacy, that safety. Because what is intimacy? It's safety, knowing that, like, in the world, nobody accepts me and understands me more than this person. And once I feel that about you, what do I do in return? Ideally, under normal circumstance, I do same. And that is how you can unlock healthy relationship. So healthy relationship is not by, just, cleaning the house, providing for the home only. It goes beyond that. It's seeing your spouse for who they truly are and honoring them, giving them that room, that kindness to evolve, to grow, not being too hard on them. Everybody is going to have a character that you don't like. You have characters that you don't like. Don't judge them based on those things that you don't like. Don't judge them based on that. Rather, give them room to grow. And for you as well, for anybody that is in a relationship that wants it to be healthy, acknowledge that you cannot be perfect. So there are certain things about you that you need to work on. Don't be defensive about it. Try to, conquer yourself as well. That is the way that you can unlock a healthy relationship. I'm fighting myself to be the best version of myself so that I can relate properly with you. You're fighting yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself so that you can relate properly with me. Why can't you have a healthy relationship? But if I am blind to me, my own weaknesses,
faults, yeah.
And for me, it's just like, I got married to a husband. He's supposed to take care of me, regardless of what the reality is. If he's not seeing that understanding from me, how can he give his best? No. And even for a wife, like, you got married to a wife, she's supposed to clean the house, to do this and do that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You don't care. How can she do her best? And that is why in marriages, you see people get married. Everybody that gets married, they get married to have a healthy relationship, to have, like, very good connection and all of that. What keeps creating gap is how they treat themselves. The more you're not being kind to your spouse, the more they are also shifting. The more they are also holding back.
Yeah.
Right? And before you know it,
there's a bridge. Yeah. What are some common mistakes that couples make in their relationships, and how can these mistakes be avoided?
So what kind of couples? Like couples that are already married or at premarital level?
Okay, let's say premarital level, since this is about self-awareness and compatibility.
So I think we've even mentioned some of these things during the course of the conversation. Not being yourself, that's a mistake. If you want to get married to somebody and you want to spend the rest of your life with them, you want them to know the real you, the authentic you, and decide that this is okay for them, right? And then also another common mistake is just, projecting your own potential, what you feel like you need, projecting it onto the person and not seeing them for who they are. You need to be practical and realistic and see this person for who they are. Like, don't say, oh, I see them becoming this and this and that. That's a mistake. What if they don't? What guarantee do you have that they will? So, another thing is having like, unrealistic expectation about even the marriage institution. Like thinking that once you guys get married, it's just happily ever after. You're going to love each other 24 hours every day. You're not going to be angry at each other. You're not going to have
Problem.
fights. You're not going to have conflict. You're going to enjoy the same thing. You're going to enjoy the same thing. You're going to dislike the same thing. All of that are things that, and as absurd as they sound, there are a lot of people that this is what they think a marriage should be.
That's their
expectation of what a marriage is like. If we get married, myself and my husband would want to sleep at the same time, would enjoy the same type of food, would enjoy the same type of entertainment, all of that. Like, you need to understand that just because this person loves you and they want to get married to you does not mean that they would automatically like everything that you like and dislike everything that they are still their own person regardless of, and that makes them have their own unique needs, unique values that might differ from yours. So I think that's one of the common mistakes that people make.
All right. Earlier you mentioned resources that people should look for. So can you tell us some specific one, maybe books or podcast, or even like the therapy, the counseling services that you provide, that every couple should at least read or learn before they get married?
So there's Happily Married Ever After by Ali Hamuda. I think anybody that wants to get married should read that book.
Okay.
It's a very good book. It helps you understand how the marriage institution works. There's Love and Respect. People should also read Love and Respect. They would understand. There's a lot to learn from it. And The 4 Seasons of Marriage as well.
Okay.
Is something that they should read. And The Love Languages, of course,
5 love languages.
by the same author. So people should read those books. It will prepare them. And also learn about yourself. If you want to get married, even if you read all of these books, amazing, but try to learn about yourself. Every individual should take responsibility for understanding who they are. It is your biggest asset, knowing who you are. That way, everything works for you. But if you don't know who you are, you have to make a mistake before you realize it. But once you know who you are, you prevent some of these mistakes before they even happen to you. So I would say, try to understand who you are. If you have anything you're confused about, there are resources that can help you to, get to know yourself better, get to understand your weaknesses and how to build them to be your strengths. You can try therapy if you feel like there's a childhood trauma, there's you don't have a clear picture of who you are, you struggle with that. You can try therapy. Therapy is powerful. It can help you to unlock your the version of who you want to be, even if you're not that person yet. And I would say just be committed to getting to know who you are. Try out a lot of resources. And I would always say that we are in an era now in life where resources are available everywhere. Let's utilize them. Don't use your time just, playing games and just, scrolling social media. Use it to understand yourself and get to know yourself better. the version of yourself that you want to become will thank you for that.
Thank you. That's like everything just leads back to self-awareness, like you said. So I want to share this with you. This is a product by the Northern Therapist, and it's called premarital cards, right?
Yeah.
So if you've ever wondered what questions should I ask my potential spouse or anything, like this is a pack of very, very intentional questions. So I'd let her tell us how they came about this product before we read some questions.
Yeah. So the premarital cards, we got the inspiration from our premarital counselling. We saw like the frequently asked questions among couples, and we also acknowledge that not everybody would have access to premarital counselling. For some, maybe they are not even aware about it. For some, it's the cost, it doesn't come cheap. So we looked at what is a budget-friendly thing that people can actually use as a guide to get to know each other better. So we curated some of these important questions that couples can ask themselves, and that would open up a line of conversation where they judge whether this is something they want to do or not. And we curated this.
All right, because I'm seeing very nice questions here, like this one that says, describe what feels like home to you. I think that's very important to ask your spouse. And then, are you open to therapy or counseling?
Yeah.
These are very nice questions. I'd suggest you get them for yourselves. And if you can afford to, go and have premarital counseling, individual counseling. It's very helpful. And inshallah, may Allah bless the work that you do. Do you have anything to add before we?
Yeah, before we go, I just want to emphasize to anyone, the marriage that you deserve, the marriage that you want, lies in your hands, right? Allah has provided all of the resources. So yes, you make your dua, nobody is disputing that, but you also have to put in the work. I think at this day and age, getting married without any form of premarital counseling is reckless on your part. It shows that you're not ready to invest in the marriage that you deserve. No matter how much you know yourself, you want to understand yourself better. You want to understand the spouse that you want to get married to. You want to know if you guys are compatible. You want to equip yourself with skills that will help you in conflict management, that would help you to know what your roles and your responsibilities are, that would help you to build a lot of skills. So not getting premarital counseling that is just a fraction of the token of your wedding ceremony
cost
is entirely reckless. So if you're trying to get married, make that a priority, and your married self will thank you.
Inshallah. Invest in your marriage, not your wedding. Thank you. Jazakallah khairan. For this season, the theme is service and self-development. And the work that you do for society, for relationships, for couples, we consider it a form of service. May Allah bless it for you. So we'd like to know, what does service mean to you?
For me, I think that's an interesting question, because I've never been asked that question, what service means to me. And when you mentioned it earlier, I just did not even pay attention, because I wanted it to come to me just as I'm trying to attempt the question. So for me, service, I think, like, for me, it's a call. Somebody asked me, a facilitator we facilitated a course with asked me, she said, why am I into what I am doing? And I told her at that moment that I feel like this is what I am meant to do. I feel like this is my responsibility. So for me, I would say service is like a call, like you should do this. You need to do this. You are expected to do this. So that's what I think service is for me. And that's why I do what I do, because I feel like I have to do it, because it was given to me so that I can do it. If it wasn't given to me, then I don't have to do it. But now, like, it's a call for me to. I have to.
Yeah. Allahumma barik. That's very beautiful. Thank you for staying this long, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and we'll leave her details, inshallah, so you can follow her and gain more from her content. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.